Remember that the disaster in the movie Daylight was not an accident, but a deliberate act that triggered a desperate fight for survival in the depths of the Hudson River. You are about to discover all the encounters and appearances that sealed the fate of the survivors, in a complete analysis that reveals why, almost 30 years later, this 1996 film still takes your breath away. Hey clickers, subscribe with the bell activated. Comment on the content you want to see on the channel, and share this video to help us grow. It helps us a lot. Daylight, released in 1996, is a landmark of the disaster film genre, directed by Rob Cohen and starring Sylvester Stallone as Kit Latura. The plot unfolds in New York City, focusing on the Holland Tunnel, one of the vital arteries connecting Manhattan to New Jersey under the Hudson River. The normality of an ordinary day is shattered when a police chase of a group of jewel thieves ends in a catastrophic collision. The criminal's vehicle, at high speed, violently crashes into a convoy of trucks transporting toxic and illegal waste. The resulting explosion is monumental, sealing both ends of the tunnel with fire and debris, trapping a diverse group of civilians in a subterranean nightmare. The tunnel's structure begins to give way under the immense pressure of the river water above, starting a desperate race against time. Within the chaos, we find a microcosm of society. Madeline Thompson, a rising playwright trying to overcome a personal tragedy. Roy Nord, a sporting goods entrepreneur whose arrogance masks his fear. A juvenile detention center bus carrying a group of young offenders, including the cunning Latonia. An elderly couple, the Trillings, and a family with their teenage daughter, Ashley Crichton, and their dog. Each character carries their own burdens and hopes, now forced to confront mortality in a claustrophobic and hostile environment. News of the disaster quickly spreads, and the authorities, led by Frank Kraft, struggle to find a solution, but the tunnel's instability makes any conventional rescue attempt extremely dangerous. It is in this scenario of despair that Kit Latura, the former chief of New York City's emergency medical services, emerges. The protagonist is a man haunted by a past decision that resulted in a tragedy and led him to leave his post. Living as a taxi driver, he feels compelled to act upon witnessing the disaster. Using his intimate and unorthodox knowledge of the city's infrastructure, he offers to enter the tunnel through a ventilation system, a route considered suicidal by the rescue teams. His first appearance to the survivors is a mix of hope and distrust. He is no longer an authority figure, but his competence and calm quickly establish him as the group's reluctant leader. The main challenge faced by everyone is the tunnel structure itself. The initial explosions compromised its integrity, and the Hudson River exerts relentless pressure, causing constant leaks that threaten to flood everything. The water level rises inexorably, reducing space and time. Besides the water, fire from gas pockets and unstable debris pose constant threats. Psychological tension is another immense obstacle.
Panic, selfishness, and despair surface among the survivors. Roy Nord, for example, believes he can find a way out through a service passage, disregarding Latura's warnings. His attempt results in a collapse that costs him his life and nearly dooms the rest of the group, a key moment that solidifies the protagonist's leadership. The group's journey through the wreckage is a succession of harrowing encounters and life-or-death decisions. Latura's first appearance brings a plan to traverse the tunnel to a less damaged service area that could connect them to a ventilation shaft. The group needs to navigate through crushed cars, exposed electrical wires, and the constant threat of new collapses. One of the most tense moments occurs when they must cross a partially flooded section inhabited by rats fleeing the rising water. The interaction between the characters evolves. Initial distrust gives way to a fragile cooperation forged by mutual need for survival. Madeline Thompson becomes Latura's right-hand woman, using her intelligence and resilience to help keep the group together. The narrative's development accelerates as options run out. The original plan to use a service hatch fails, forcing the protagonist to improvise. The external pressure from rescue teams, who plan to implode the tunnel to contain the flooding and prevent a larger collapse that could affect the city's foundation, adds a relentless clock to their struggle. Kit Latura's choice to use a small explosive charge to open a passage to the riverbed, hoping to be propelled to the surface by the water pressure, is an act of pure desperation and genius. This decision, made in the final moments, is the story's climax. the final appearance of several characters occurs tragically. The Crichton family, the elderly Trillings, and some of the young detainees manage to get through a narrow passage before it collapses. However, the protagonist, Madeline, and police officer George Tyrrell, who was on guard in the tunnel, are left behind. Tyrrell, wounded, sacrifices himself to help the others. In the climax, Latora uses the explosive, creating an eruption of mud and water that projects them to the surface of the Hudson River. The image of Kit Latora emerging with Madeline Thompson in his arms as the tunnel debris settles at the bottom of the river is the iconic final scene. The choice to sacrifice himself for strangers redeems the main character from his past trauma, completing his reluctant hero arc. Daylight, in 1996, delivered a spectacle of visual effects and tension, encapsulating the essence of disaster films of that decade. What did you think of all the encounters and appearances in Daylight? Was Kit Latora's journey heroic or just lucky? Leave your opinion in the comments. We want to know what you think about this disaster cinema classic. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this detailed analysis and share it with your friends who are also fans of action-packed and suspenseful movies. Your interaction is crucial for our channel's growth. Thanks.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards